Welcome back to the SA Weekly Talk Show. Going to be coming live here in a few seconds. Well, actually, we are live, but we're having some technical difficulties with our streaming broadcast. So, what we're going to be doing is waiting a second, but I've got a special guest. Jonathan Cromwell is going to be joining us here, and I'm going to be adding him in just in a second, and we should be able to get him in. So, Jonathan, if you are watching, if you could request to join the live show, I'm going to get you in here and we will actually dive into today's content. So, let me pop this in. Like I said, our normal broadcasting software um, was not working as normal. So, we're going to try to get Jonathan in here. So, Jonathan, on your phone, you should have the ability to join the discussion here. And let's just see if Jonathan can get in here. But Jonathan, on your phone, if you're watching here, buddy, looks like you are. If you can go in and get that feature, we're going to be diving in. But Jonathan's going to be talking about marketing and sales and all the things that are working in the service industry, specifically cleaning. And we're going to dive in and bring some value for you here. So we're going to let's take a look at it here and see if we can get this up and running here. So bear with us here. And we will be live and providing some content for you here shortly. But having some technical difficulties occasionally happens with Facebook Live here. But let's see what we got going here. And I think. All right, looks like Jonathan is coming in. Hey, brother, can you hear me?
Hey, yep, I got you. Can you hear me?
All right. Yeah, I can hear you. So
Okay.
what we'll do is basically get back into this. And if you want to mute me on the other thing you got, we should be good. All
Hold
right.
on. Hey, I got all kinds of technology flying around me right now, Mike. It wouldn't let
No
me do it from
problem.
the desktop. Hold on. Hey, I got all kinds of technology flying around me right now, Mike. It wouldn't let me do it from the desktop. Holy moly. Okay,
All
hey, we're
right,
good.
we're good. So technical difficulties aside, it is a great Friday afternoon. Absolutely excited to have Jonathan on here. If you're just joining us, SA Weekly Talk Show, where we bring industry experts to drop knowledge and teach you more things and ways to run your service business. So our streaming platform went down a few minutes before, so we are on the fly adopting to basically using our mobile phones at this point. So if you haven't plugged your phone in, Jonathan, you may want to because it will suck it dry here quickly. But Jonathan, if people have not heard of you, we first met as industry experts through Debbie Sardone in her cleaning business fundamentals. And Debbie, if you haven't met her, is an absolute rock star in the cleaning industry, probably the biggest name in North America as a cleaning residential expert. I've had the pleasure of sharing the stage with Debbie in several different areas. And I know you've recently become one of the CBF certified coaches. We've had Libby on here, as well as some other CBF members or ex-members on the SA Weekly Talk Show. So Jonathan, people have never met you. If you wouldn't mind, just kind of give us some background on how you cut your teeth in the cleaning industry and, kind of what you're doing in the CBF community right now as a certified coach.
Okay, yeah. Hey, thank you, Mike. If I told all my buddies what I do now, the guys I used to work with, they would be like, "Really? Like you sell deep cleans and recurring maid service?" And it's the truth, right? I started selling real estate in 2005, and about 3 years into that, I've never stopped doing that, but I've pretty much been pigeonholed to people that I know really well in terms of who I work with in that arena. But I got into education. I was a high school football coach for 9 years. And then about 4 years ago, my wife and I had kids. We had 3 kids, and enough was enough. We got out. We went in. Sarah started cleaning. Sarah's my wife. She started cleaning. We got up to about 20 clients. And so we were we were an infant-sized business when we signed up for CBF, Cleaning Business Fundamentals, which is Debbie Sardone's consultation program. And I credit a lot of our success to starting that very early on in our business. Like we didn't go into CBF having to fix all of these issues, but Sarah started it. I went to a CBF, one of Debbie Sardone's conferences, and Debbie's connecting all the dots. Hey, if you do this and you do that, you'll make this much money. And I'm like, okay, I can do that. I can sell the cleaning. I can do some marketing. So we started cranking it up, and that's essentially what happened. We grew super fast. We did everything in CBF to the T. We should be the poster children. I keep telling Debbie that, but she won't put me on a poster. But here's the progress that we saw over the last 3.5 years. Sarah did clean for about 8 months, and she produced about $60,000 worth of revenue in 2017. In 2018, we did $480,000 worth of revenue. In 2019, we went to 960. We did 1.1 last year during the pandemic, and now we're pacing at about 1.3, almost 1.4 million dollars. And so we've had to grow really fast. We've kind of had our head kicked in a little bit on some stuff with just having super quick growth. And I don't regret what we did, but I don't know if I'll do it again in terms
Oh,
of
I've been
growing
there.
that fast.
I'm on that ride right now again with SimpleGrowth. So I am live in those trenches. But congratulations, because I don't know if our viewers know, or maybe you might not even know, you are now in the top 10% of all small businesses in the country. Now, if you dial that back into your service businesses like lawn care or home cleaning, you're probably in the top 5 to 7% of the whole entire country of businesses. So along that way, we find there are some massive hurdles of growth that obviously Debbie and her camp are really great at helping people do that. So just like here at SimpleGrowth, we've scaled those 7-figure businesses. Those growth hurdles are pretty much the same in any service business. And one of the things, Jonathan, I'm assuming that you needed to really dial into and figure out was your marketing and your sales process. And I know those are two of the key main areas that you're really an expert at. So I guess my first question for you is, statistically, as you look at most service businesses, all the sales are made on 5 or more follow-ups, so consistent sales follow-up. So I know, at least when I started my business in the early years, I'm not on a pedestal here preaching. You were lucky if you got a phone call back, or if I even did anything after I dropped off your bid or emailed it out. So looking at that, is there a certain process, or was there a certain methodology that you found in your business to be successful to follow up on these scales, to scale that quick? Because I can imagine there had to be a process in place to go out and exponentially double in size each year.
Yeah, and so I'll tell you how we started. It started in a notebook. Like, we had lead sheets. On the side of that lead sheet, as barbaric and archaic as it sounds, it was literally a check mark. Yes, on this date, I did my follow-up call. It was manual automation, right? Human automation, which is not the way to go. But sometimes smaller businesses, startups, it is what it is, right? You create a notebook, you check off that you called them, and you roll with it, and you do the best that you can, right? Check it, I called them. Check it, I emailed them, and that's that. That's where we started. We did that in our business for probably our first 150 clients, and then we actually were fortunate enough to get get more automations in place very early on in our business. And I do credit a lot of that to our success. So I'm speaking in terms of, and I can't wait to hear Mike expand a little bit more about what you have to offer and the automations that you guys have put together. But automations to clients, following up, selling cleanings while you're sleeping, automations in your sales process that involve follow-up calls. The majority of the cleanings that we book and the clients that we pick up happen in the follow-up process. They don't happen on the first call. You don't get people on the phone and say, yeah, that's a $600 deep clean plus 180 every 2 weeks. It doesn't work like that. Sometimes it does, but for the most part, we're going to book those cleanings in that sales follow-up process, which for us started in a notebook system, and now now it's a lot more automated.
Yeah, and same thing here in my lawn care business. Now, a lot of people actually, when we're at like CDF or quality driven software, QDS at Martha Woodward, a lot of people think I actually own a cleaning business, but we're entrenched with some of the top experts, obviously, in that industry. But no matter the industry, because it's SimpleGrowth, as an automation expert, kind of our goal is to help business owners take their life back from their business, because when you're doing all these things manually, it can really take a toll on your personal life and your team's personal life. I was literally working 100 hours a week, 7 days a week. But I guess just to touch on your sales follow-up with the consistency of our estimates, you kind of touched on some of the stuff we do. And just to give you a high level, because I know, Jonathan, you were kind of asking earlier before we got on, Mike, what do you kind of build, or what has that done for you system look like? And what, after having thousands and thousands of clients go through these, we call it 20 days to close, and probably very similar to what you're doing. But what we've found is omni-channel marketing. So multiple communication points along the way is the key to success. So we figured that 20 days after all the stats was the optimal period, but we're hitting with automated emails, automated text messages, yes, and phone calls. So there's a to-do or a task depending on the software, the CRM that you're using, and it's assigned to a particular person or role, and says, hey, call Mrs. Smith back. It's been 2 days since we dropped off her top to bottom deluxe cleaning. This is what to say. If she says yes, do this in the software we're scheduling. If she says no, do this. But it creates predictable systems. And a lot of people watching maybe, and even in the early days, Jonathan, I'm sure you'd agree, Mike, you're crazy. I can't make personal phone calls. I don't have the time to do that. Well, what we traditionally would suggest is tying into a thing called a ringless voicemail bounce. So it hits the cell phone on file, looks like a missed call without ringing, and it's a personalized message that you've left, but it's not like a robocall. I'll be like, hey, it's Mike from Callahan's Cleaning. So sorry I missed you. I wanted to leave you this message regarding the estimate we dropped off 2 days ago, and it's literally the right timing. So we're going to create automated follow-up that's personalized based on where they're at in the customer life cycle. And I think that's the key. So if you're not looking to go out and hire a professional to necessarily set this stuff up for you, that's the key. We need 5 or more communications over multiple communication channels, and they need to be personalized. So Jonathan, if you don't have something like this in your follow-up, and I'm guessing maybe you do, but if you don't, one of the secrets that we use on day 2 of all our follow-up estimates is it's an email that looks personal from the business owner, and in the bottom, it looks like it's sent from my iPhone. What we find is 20% of all the sales that we win are closed on that one email, because people think the business owner actually followed up from their iPhone right in a personalized email. So kind of a little taste of our 20 days to close process. But obviously, being an expert in all things sales and marketing, Jonathan, is there any other tips or tricks that you could think of that you guys are utilizing in that sales follow-up to close those sales that you'd recommend people try out as well?
Hey, well, I got something to add to that, and then I got something that I would like you to incorporate in everything that you do. That's so also awesome. In my sales office, I tell our salespeople, I call it the initial sales blast. We get a quote, we're going to call them, we're going to leave a voicemail. They're going to see that missed call, they're going to see that voicemail, they're going to get an email from us, they're going to get a text from us. Even if we don't have enough to actually give them a quote, they're still going to get all 4 of those things. So what it sounds like to me, Mike, is that your 20 days to close is an initial sales blast for 20 days in a row, right?
Correct. Yep. And the positive thing is we've made every mistake possible over the last. So believe it or not, Jonathan, automation seems to be a new thing in the service industry. So not to get too deep into my personal life, but if people haven't heard the story, like literally my business caused the divorce. We're talking 10, 12 years ago at least. But literally I was working 100 hours a week, and like literally hit rock bottom. And I was like, I either got to get rid of this business or I got to fix it. So I went out and found an automation platform. At that point, it was actually Infusionsoft, or basically Keep now. And then we ended up automating as well on Service Autopilot for my business. But the idea was that we didn't necessarily know what we were doing in the early days, but you're looking at 8 or 9 years worth of data in a well beyond 7-figure business of my own. And then now hundreds of service business, lawn care and home cleaning, pest control, and other ones. So we've got this data. We've kind of figured what is that optimal timing and how much is too much. And you nailed it. And I agree with you 100% out the gate. We don't call it a blast. I don't think we really have a name for it. I like that. I might borrow that, but we do hit them with. So it's literally the phone call, email, and text, like literally within that span. And especially if you're emailing out that estimate, there could be a text message or a phone call like, hey, did you get our estimate? I want to make sure it's not in your spam folder. So it's like you're showing up so consistent that your competition doesn't have a chance. And that's where we started to double and triple our size really quickly.
Yeah, I'm reading E-Myth right now. I've always gotten Debbie's shared golden nuggets from that book, but I'm actually doing that 75 hard challenge, right, which is killing me,
Okay.
and I'm only on day 6. But I'm reading right now, and automations are new to the service industry because most of us are technicians that turn business owners, and we're figuring it out. Now, that doesn't mean that we're not going to grow into the business owner that we want to be and actually have a business one day with an organizational chart. I never thought that would happen for me, but it did, right? So yeah, automations is a big thing that's up and coming in the service industry. I don't care what industry you're in. One thing that I do, Mike, when I bring a new salesperson into our office is I teach them everything that we do. I talk all this. But then I have them go get quotes from 3 other cleaning companies. I don't tell them where to go. I just say, hey, call the 3 other companies, get a quote, and I want you to listen for these things. What are they charging? Which I don't really care what they charge. What are they charging? Um, how do they sound on the phone? And are they going to follow up with you? And almost 80% of the time, I feel like I'm pulling a number out of my back pocket. They never get a follow-up call. They never get a follow-up email. They may not even ask them for their email on the phone. But my point is other companies, they're one-hit wonders, right? And there's no automations in place. If you want to be a successful business in the service industry, you better have some automations in place, right? It may be more important than marketing, right? Or as important for sure. They're all important, but like if you don't have that in place, it can make the difference between a $600,000 company and a $1.2 million company for sure, absolutely. And the years that it takes you to get to wherever you want to be with your business.
Yeah, couldn't agree with you more. It was interesting. One thing, I want to dive into the marketing and some consistency because I think that plays really nicely into the estimate follow. But one thing you talked about is like I really don't care what the competition's charging, and business professionals in the early days, we don't know any better. We probably compete on price. But as the business evolves and we've got a process in place, you shouldn't, at least in my opinion, compete on price. But I know that like being a CBF coach and a marketing professional, what we're really doing is going out and competing on perceived value and going out and very similar to Marcus Sheridan's book. If you guys are watching or girls are watching that you haven't read this book, They Ask You Answer. I know he was a keynote over at RC's conference there before COVID. And I've had the pleasure of talking in front of Marcus at several different conferences, but that They Ask You Answer by Marcus Sheridan really starts going into that perceived value and going in and overcoming any of the sales or price objections before the estimate bid is done and then afterwards. So that's exactly some of the secret sauce you want to start mixing in those estimate follow-ups. But if we've dialed in the estimate follow-up and we're not competing on price, but we're basically competing on value, where does consistency fall in play then? So going out and marketing, what would you consider consistency? And a lot of times people say, well, right now, sales isn't the problem. We've got massive employee issues going on with different stimulus and COVID and kind of post-COVID now. We'll dive into your thoughts on that. But I'm assuming we want to continue to keep marketing and driving our sales no matter what at this point. And then we've got to figure out how we get the employees to satisfy that. But what are your thoughts on marketing consistency and what does that mean in a very successful service business such as your cleaning business?
When our business was in the infancy stage, which is an E-Myth term that he talks about, our marketing, we'd go up and down. We would adjust our marketing budget based on the number of employees and what we could service. And so what I found was when you crank it down, I mean, it's hard to recover with all the different algorithms out there that are way smarter than us, right? We can't figure it out. So it's super smart to keep your marketing consistent, even in times like this when you may not have the employees, like Mike was saying, to do it. So I think in terms of the perceived value that we're selling to clients on the phone, you know, a portion of our conversation, our sales pitch on the phone does talk about cleaning, obviously, but the larger portion of our phone conversation is about trust and who we are and just being conversational but tactful on the phone during our sales process. I think it's a great time to shift your marketing. Don't change your marketing budget and eliminate, you know, go crank your AdWords down to, you know, pennies or whatever, but focusing on the your brand awareness, right? A lot of the things that I teach and coach my clients on and with their marketing is to market to the people that you want to market to. Okay, market to brand loyal customers. Brand loyal customers are the ones that'll be 22 cleanings in, which means they've been with you almost a year if they have biweekly services, and you mess up a cleaning, yet they still love you and they still care and they're genuine on the phone and they're okay with you coming back to fix it and make it right, versus slamming the phone down on you and getting all cranky. So the marketing that we do and the marketing that I teach attracts brand loyal clients, people that are rooting for you, people that are going to help you grow your business, people that in times like this, when every cleaning company that they call is understaffed and can't service and take on new clients right now, attracting brand loyal customers with the right marketing, you'll attract people that can hear that you're 3 weeks out maybe, which is not ideal, but they'll wait. and they'll book a cleaning in mid-June, and knowing that we're going to be there when we say that we're going to be there, that we're going to be super consistent, the quality of our people, they'll wait if you're attracting the right people. So I think it's a great time for everybody to shift their marketing from maybe you're not attracting as many leads as you can necessarily, but you're working on your branding and your brand awareness, and you're investing in the clients that you already have, which is a form of marketing, right? We all calculate our attrition rates and how many people are we losing, and should we have lost them, or could we have prevented this? So what if you took some of your marketing budget and you actually focused on the people that you're already servicing in an effort to not lose them and make them happy? And maybe you'll shift 50 clients out of 300 clients on your client list from just a client to a brand loyal customer that loves you, right? Through investing in them. And it's all marketing. How you do that, there's a lot of different things that you can do, but focusing on brand awareness and investing in the clients that you already have on your client list is something super smart to do. Because if you do that and you do it right, it's okay if you go and you send them a rate increase letter, which is something that's a super hot topic in all service industries. My pool guy sent me a $20 rate increase, and I was like, okay. what are you going to do, right? I mean, everybody gets it, right? So I think if you shift your marketing and you do it right, everything gets better, right?
Yeah, you hit on like two really big topics, at least in my mind right now. So my business got acquired probably about 2 years ago, but when we figured out that marketing consistency, I think one of the keys to success is we never stopped pumping the consistency and the dollars into the marketing. It was across multiple channels, so door hangers, AdWords, Facebook ads, amongst some other things. But the idea was that the office was kind of like, well, Mike, we're at capacity. We can't take any more work. I was like, that's okay. But what we're going to do is stay consistent, top of frame of mind, reinforce with our existing clients. And when they actually called, now I don't know if this necessarily plays for everybody, but we would actually give them a quote live over the phone or email. And literally, when they went to purchase, we literally would say, we're sorry, at this point, we're actually at capacity. We value the quality of work. We don't overbook our schedules, but would you like to get on our waiting list? It's a first come, first serve. So as we were going to scale and add those new employees and add that depth, we already had a qualified database of basically customers that have already committed to a price. And it was easy to put out that next, solo or two cleaners, or in our case, our two guys or girls on a mowing crew. Same thing, inside, outside, same idea, but like literally instead of like, how do I go out and put this extra team out to go clean these houses, you potentially could have them literally sitting in your database ready to go. So that was huge for us to scale smoothly, because obviously with the financials, like if you don't have a full crew and you're only running at half or 3/4 capacity, you're barely breaking even. You may be even losing money. Yeah. So that was really key for us. And I think the other interesting thing that you mentioned there along the way was tracking your attrition. So a lot of people call that churn or cancellation, but how many people are actually leaving your business? So I know it's something we haven't really talked about before the call, but I'm curious your take on it, because that is one of the biggest things. And I think all service businesses that you should be tracking daily, or if not at least weekly, how many new clients, how many cancel or attrition, and then what's your net new clients. And I'm assuming, Jonathan, you may be looking at that in several different ways. So I wonder how a cleaning industry expert would look at it. But my assumption is you probably have two different buckets. You have your one-time cleaning. So those are like your deep cleanings, your top to bottoms that are not tied to a regular recurring maintenance. And then you'd have like your top to bottom deluxe, which is tied into a weekly, bi-weekly, or every 4-week clean. So are you looking at the ratio of one-time versus reoccurring clean, and then maybe the attrition or the cancellation on your reoccurring and one-times?
We calculate our attrition based off of the recurring service, right? Okay. We don't, that's where it's just like mowing yards or any other service industry. We're looking for residual money, and it's going to come from our recurring clients. The one-time cleans, right? The people that call you to have their yard mowed once a year because they're tired of doing it. Those are the people that complain all the time, right? So we're looking for those recurring clients, and that's what we're calculating and looking at, evaluating. And then we're taking it a step further. Like, when are we losing them? Are we losing them on the second clean? Are we losing them 2 years in? Are we losing them on the 10th clean? We're trying to get really nerdy with this and analytical and get to the bottom of it. So that we can combat that, right? If you take into account the loss of 5 clients just five. I'm using the number five. I'm not using percentages. That's 60 clients over the span of a year. 60 clients alone, right? And for some of us
Yep.
bigger companies, that churn can be quite a bit bigger. So if you're combating that and you do want to get super duper nerdy down to the percentage, which is what we do, um, it can make the difference in a year of like four or $500,000 worth of revenue. So it's definitely something to look into. And what it does is the more you know about your business, which in the Cleaning Business Fundamentals consultation group, if you were to be a part of a group or group coaching and join the community, um, we it'll tell you so much more about your business, right? Losing clients is not good. It is not fun, but it will teach you a whole lot about your business if you're calculating it and tracking it the right way. It's definitely something to pay attention to. But
Yeah.
Mike, recurring clients, that's what we're looking
Yeah,
at.
and I'm in complete agreement. I was just kind of curious to take it. So the other thing, to take that to another level. So I'm assuming you guys are probably already doing this, but literally from lead source acquisition. So you're talking about marketing and the marketing consistency. So where are your clients coming from? Is it Facebook? Is it Instagram? Is it customer referral? Is it a door hanger? So traditionally, as I'm looking at a business, traditionally we want to know how many leads came from each lead source, how many converted into a client, and then based on that marketing spend, if there was one, what's your client acquisition cost? How much it costs you to actually get that client? And then based on those different marketing sources, what we've seen is not all lead sources are equal. So your Facebook ad may cost you $150 to get a new client, but their client lifetime value could be $10,000 on average. So they may stick around for 3 years on average. But maybe something from a home advisor or Yelp or something like that may cost you $50 or $25 for that lead, but that client lifetime value is only about $250. So you kind of alluded at that one time versus reoccurring and going after your ideal client avatar. So if you're watching this, Jonathan's got that dialed in. These are the things that I highly recommend that our clients look at as well. And I know the CBF community is looking at that, those numbers. And I think that's really important, because now when you go to scale that business like Jonathan did, it's a math game. It's kind of fun, because, as percentage, if I put X amount of dollars here, X amount are going to convert as a percentage. And you'll find that each marketing source, I'm assuming too, at least we did in my business, each marketing source has a different average conversion ratio. So you may be closing at 75% from a customer referral, but only at 35 or 40% from a Facebook ad. So it's really a math game.
Yeah, I think the best example of that, and I know when I say this word, there's going to be a lot of people that are watching or that will watch later that are going to cringe, but Home Advisor has evolved over the last 4 years, so drastically, and now that they're connected to Angie's List and all this and that. So, like, don't get mad at me. I'm not telling you to go to a Home Advisor, but I do remember back, 3 years ago when we started our business, I would hear many people say, it doesn't work. It's not worth the money. And, I'm paying $35 a lead and it's sickening because I can't get to the phone quick enough and other people are picking up and blah, blah, blah. Well, the reality is if you're tracking that and you know how much money you're spending there and then you're calculating your cost of acquisition, it can make sense, right? It's not, that varies from different places around the country, but like
each market's different too.
Each market's different, right? It's just like Yelp. Down here in Texas, not a Yelp fan, but I'm on there, right? I'm on there, but there are other parts of the country where I know Yelp is very successful for people, right? So it's just not the greatest thing for us. So yeah, better be
Awesome.
tracking
No, awesome input. So now that we've got all this work, where are we going to get employees? And you seem to be the king of marketing. So are we marketing to get employees?
Okay, so this is something I actually did over in the Cleaning Business Fundamentals Facebook group about 6 weeks ago. I went live in the group, and there's about 350 of us in that group, and my topic was guerrilla marketing for employees, right? And really, it came from the idea of our marketing budget is bigger than most people's. So I want you to understand, if I had like 2 employees and our revenue was $20,000 or $10,000 a month, I wouldn't look at it like this. But we're so big and we spend money on marketing, we have a bigger budget. Naturally, we're starting to spend money attracting employees. And just like everybody else, Indeed, ZipRecruiter, those places that we're on, they've figured it out, right? That CEO's knocked it out of the park in terms of increasing the amount of money that they're making off of us in the service industry. But I'm spending $3,000 a month on Indeed. I'm not. And I was sitting there thinking, like, Mike, I can hire a human being and pay them $3,000 a month to go walk the streets and look for employees, right? So I'm not
Right.
telling everybody to not be on Indeed. That's not what I'm telling you to do. I mean, you almost got to be there, right? It is what it is. But anyways, guerrilla marketing and things that you can do in addition to being on those platforms to attract people. You know, if you have a storefront, if you don't have a storefront, do you have business cards to hand out when you're out and about at a Walmart and you see somebody that's working at Walmart and maybe they have a really great sense of urgency and you can see them engaging with employees, then hand them a business card. You don't got to sell the job to them right on the spot, but you know, guerrilla marketing and doing things like that are things that we talk about in the CBF community. But being on Indeed, you know, and then and then automating that as much as you can, the follow-up process with them. I've heard people say, you know, I had 100 people apply on Indeed and I called them once and nobody ever calls me back. Well, like, what is the cost of one employee worth to your business? One rock star employee, right? So you look at that cost versus the cost and the amount of revenue that you might make from one recurring client. Like, you better go after the rock stars, and one voicemail, Mike, is not enough, right? I think when you're marketing and you're attracting employees and you're doing all the legwork to get them in the door for an interview, which is hard, I get it, but like one phone call is not enough. We also have an initial sales blast for attracting an employee, and that involves a phone call, a voicemail, an email, a text. You know, we're touching them on as many points as we can right off the bat, and I think that's something that everybody should be doing right now, especially as hard as it is to hire. If you're in my service area, you better be calling people because Jonathan's calling and I'm hobnobbing on the phone and doing whatever I got to do, Mike, to get them in the door, so I can see if they're a good fit and if they're going to fit in with our company. So hiring's
Yeah.
hard. I get it. I think it's most important, Mike. We talked about it right before we got on, is marketing to your existing employees, right? What are you doing, right,
Yep.
to keep them?
Yes. I couldn't agree more. And it let's face it, folks, right now, labor's always been an issue, but it is paramount right now with the stimulus and everything going on with COVID. You can literally stay at home and get 15, 16 bucks an hour on unemployment in most states right now. I mean, it's insane. And that's get too crazy, but like there's unemployment scams without going in and showing you here with my social security number. Somebody actually fraudulently tried to file unemployment this week as me, the business owner. And
That
I
was
started
me.
looking
That was
back.
me, Mike. That
It
was
might
me,
have
Mike.
been. So
Yes.
I got to respond to it another day here. Otherwise, you'll be getting a check in the mail. But I'm looking at this and I'm backing the numbers down. And not that it's not a pain point because it always is with all of us, but I'm looking at it going, man, within 50 cents to a dollar, it's almost as fruitful for them to like stay home and do nothing right now until this is over with. So how can we sell our business and get ahead of this? And I think like one of the biggest things that I found, and Jonathan, if you haven't come to this conclusion, you will, but I'm sure you have, money is not the motivator. After you hit the basic needs, it's culture, it's what's going on in the community, and how are you affecting it. And it's only getting more intense right now with like this generation and the next generation. So Generation Z is 5 times more likely to look at 5 times more posts and reviews and things of your employees currently through Glassdoor and other things like that, and your customers' reviews. So to tie into what Jonathan's saying, it's exponentially important to continue that marketing budget and brand reinforcement, client facing. But if you don't, you damn better will, in my opinion, start getting that in your budget for your employees, because it is going to literally continue to compound itself as this next generation Z starts really coming into the workforce. One of the stats in a book I just read is they're more likely to trust a social media icon if they had a health issue versus like a brain surgeon. I mean, so it is insane. But when I mean, not to age myself, but we all grew up in a time where there was no social media. But this generation now, and especially the next generation that's going to be coming into the workforce, they were like literally born into this different world of social media and icons. So if somebody goes on social media and just blasts your company as a terrible place to work and they were mistreated or XYZ, that is going to hold more weight than anything. So I think, like Jonathan, you were on point. We need to market, and then we need to reinforce our existing team. And it's more about culture and what we're doing for the community around us and how we take care of our internal team. So marketing employees right now is huge, but it's a necessity because the market right now is unbelievable. And it's frustrating. So, I mean, I don't know if you have any other tips on that, but I think this is a really good topic to hit on because let's face it, you can grow that business as big as you want. But we need to go out and market. I know Tina Service, actually the woman who cleans my home here with Made for Time, she's got a location in Florida as well as in upstate New York here. Tina, one of the things she saw recently, she's an HR professional. Her past career was HR certified. But what she's finding is some of the cleaners, even if they're 1099, like contractors or employees, is as business owners, we almost need to be flexible of what days they can work or shift or flex hours. Obviously, we need to get those cleanings done or those lawn mowings done. But let's face it, like if we have the right individual, we may have to flex a little bit and work that into our business plan. So Jonathan, I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, but I mean, right now it's the Wild West. This is unprecedented right now.
Yeah, the statistic that I heard that stood out to me was, well, first of all, before I say this, let me say this. There's not anybody that's going to watch this in any of the groups that we're in, Mike, that are going to be able to relate to this, but we all need to teach ourselves and work on understanding it because we are hiring these people that we're describing right now. And they're good people, right? But they're just different than us. They're wired differently. It doesn't make sense to you and I or anybody else in any of these groups that we're a part of to not want to go work 40 hours a week and make as much money as you can to provide for your family. But like you said, Mike, it's not always about the money. They want a good job. They want a good paying job. They want the opportunity to go knock it out of the park if they want to. But and we got to stick to our guns, with a lot of our policies. I mean, we got to get people to work. We got to get the best out of them. But how do you do that? And I think that comes back to what they're looking for. They want all of these things, but I was on a coaching call earlier this week, and this is what we alluded to. They want all of these things, but they want their job, Mike, to be, and I'm saying this is a very simple word, but it's kind of annoying, but it is what it is. They want their job to be fun. Right.
Yeah,
Which
they
is hard
actually
for
it needs to be a lifestyle fit. So one of the things, and this is kind of out there, but if you're like thinking like how could cleaning a house and scrubbing toilets or going out and mowing lawns and weed whacking, all these other things that these service industries are doing, how can that necessarily be fun? Well, if it's so one of our major like mission was like we want to give our clients, or basically we want to give you the lifestyle you desire. So that was kind of our thing, but it was two-facing. It was for our clients, but really for our employees, we wanted to give them that lifestyle desire. So if their desire was to make that money, but be able to get out at a certain time and spend times with their kids or their friends or family, we were able to do that by literally paying them through, Debbie calls it paid for performance. In my business, I called it piece rate, but we paid them the budgeted hours with a quality constraint. So if they hustled, got it done with a quality constraint, on average, they could be making an extra $2 to $3 an hour, but they could be out by 3 o'clock and still have a better part of the day to spend with their friends and family. So as you're kind of watching this, it may not necessarily like, well, like cleaning's cleaning. Well, it doesn't have to be. Cleaning is the cleaning. We've got to do it right. We've got to do the process and systems that we're taught. But can we make it fun? Because at the end of the day, there's that goal of getting out and doing what you want to do. Or maybe there's continuing education or some other benefits along the way that helps them go to where they want to go. Other great book is called The Dream Manager. And Dream Manager was built in a home. It was written about a home cleaning company or janitorial company. But the whole premise of the Dream Manager is that our employees, our team members, are never going to stay with the business forever. But we may get a good 3 to 5 years out of this cleaner. But maybe this cleaner wants to become whatever it is. Maybe they want to become a teacher. Maybe they want to, continue their education. Well, maybe we can structure that pay so it's enough for them to continue their education. They're out by a certain amount of time, but the Dream Manager is going to work with them to align their outside dreams of work, and now we're running together in parallel. So we're helping them achieve their goals in the business. They're going to give us all they've got for that time they're here because we're helping them and we're a partner to the success, to their long-term goals as well as their short-term. And that's the key. So when we found people that we could align to, we knew they weren't going to last forever, but like, what can we do to help you get where you want to be while you help us go where we got to go? I don't know, Jonathan, I don't know if that makes sense, but that was it for us.
No, hey, that right there is marketing to employees, except for it doesn't cost you anything but time, right? Give them time, ask them what their goals are, ask them what they want to achieve, and then help them achieve it because there's a plan for everything, right? Like Mike, you're a super smart guy. I feel like I can sit down with it, and I have a stack of papers over here. We did a goal setting activity with everybody on our staff. I feel with the people that I know and what I do know, and being super smart with money, I feel like I can help them achieve whatever it is that they want to achieve, right? Unless they tell me that I want to buy a house next to Mike Callahan up in upstate New York, and I'm like, well, Mike's
I
too
don't know
rich. He's
about
too big.
that.
Mike's too big time.
No,
I'm just playing.
no, just trust me, definitely not big time, man. Like this is like I've lived these trenches. I'm still living them, and just in the mindset of abundance. We've made some of these mistakes. Some of them we were lucky enough to get right. So that's the same thing you're doing here. Same thing Debbie does. Same thing Jonathan Potoshnik, the Lawn Care Millionaire, does. This is I mean, we're still living in these trenches, and I'm in the process of running a second seven-figure business, and just like Debbie did with Cleaning for a Reason and Speed Cleaning, and now CBF and Buckets and Bows. We're basically serial entrepreneurs, but we want to be able to help people along that journey, be able to do it and not make some of the pitfalls we did. I know we're getting near the end of time, but there's one other thing on employees I want to hit on, and then this will kind of obviously probably tie into it. But you're talking about marketing employees, and my guess, at least with my experience, is the employees that you want hang out in certain places online, and they probably hang out in certain places offline. So we had at the lawn care company, there was a trailer park where I would say 60 to 70% of all our employees lived in. I had no idea. And so one of the guys' cars broke down that was carpooling half the guys, and we had to go pick them up because like half our team wasn't there that morning for that division. So we started actually marketing to that trailer park. And the other ones, we had a pretty heavy Hispanic Guatemalan background of employees also. And there was 2 or 3 Hispanic churches in the town where these guys and girls would hang out. So we actually would actually work with the church and do some things for the church. And basically reciprocatory, the preacher or the minister or whatever that was at that church would actually help us literally recruit some of the ladies and gentlemen in there that didn't have a job. So that was like something we knew that these people, like far as where they were hanging out and the groups they were already in, were actually a great fit for our culture. So we went specifically to those areas. So I don't know if that really plays into the cleaning, but I want to dovetail onto that. What platforms, and I know you're going in some different platforms, are you going at? And based on the buying habits, most people, at least in my experience in the service industry, are the final decision makers, usually the female of the house. So maybe you're going after that demographic on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Are you finding success in any platforms outside of like the traditional, or is there certain ones you're diving into that you're finding maybe most people aren't tapping yet?
We from the very beginning, we've been big Facebook marketers, paid and non-paid. We've done Google AdWords. We've done all the standard platforms that everybody knows about, and have had a lot of success. What we're kind of getting nerdy with right now, and I'm really super excited about this, is we're playing around with Instagram. I think a lot of us in the service industry make the assumption that there's not buyers out there on Instagram, and we are completely wrong. I'm only about 3 months into this, so I don't have a ton of statistics, but I do want to share with everybody what we're doing on the Instagram platform. You got to learn it, right? The things that you can do on your phone on Instagram are different than what you're able to do if you pull up Instagram on your desktop. So you do got to get in, you got to learn, but you don't got to learn it all, right? You don't got to be an Instagrammer. You don't got to be an Instagram influencer to attract the new leads and new customers from the Instagram platform. I'm super consistent with my postings on Instagram. They're not great, but they're something, and they're something that the other cleaning companies in our area aren't doing, because I think like I said, it's an assumption that we all make that it's not a platform that you can go making money on, but it is. So we're super consistent with our postings. We track how many postings that we've done every month. For 3 months, we average about, and I'm looking at my little chart over here, we average about 10 posts or so on Instagram a month. We increase about 50 followers every single month, and we follow an additional 50 to 60 people every single month. And all I have is 3 months of data, but we went from 1 lead to 2 leads to 5 leads, and I believe it's going to start to exponentially build over the next year, especially because we've done this. We found, I'm going to call her an Instagram influencer. We looked at followers. How many followers do they have? Are they local followers? And we followed this one influencer, right? She has a mom, a Frisco mom's account. I don't know, something like that. But anyways, I reached out to her through her email that I found on Instagram. And I said, hey, do you want a free cleaning in exchange for a post out there to your followers? And so we did it, and it went well. And her post was awesome, and it had pictures of our maids, real pictures, right, Mike? Real pictures versus stock
Yep.
photos. I mean, it was awesome. And so then she reached out again. She's like, hey, why don't we do this long term? And I said, why don't we do this long term? So now we're on a every 4 week rotation cleaning for her, an Instagram influencer, right? Not like Post Malone with 2 million followers, but like 3,000 local followers, people that are going to buy cleanings. And so we do a cleaning for her. That expense, in my eyes, is a marketing expense in exchange for real, like just genuine, like pictures and messages about our staff and about our company, and it's great. The last cleaning we did, she came here to our office, got pictures of me and my wife, learned a little bit more about our story and the history of our company, and she blasted it out there. And it looks so real and authentic. It doesn't come across as an article in a magazine. So it's great, and the expense for that, we pay $140. Or that's what
That's because it is real and it's authentic, and
it's real.
that's where the power of social is, and then that new buying shift is there. So that's huge. And if you're looking at that, if people are watching that basically that is a marketing strategy. It's a JV partnership, joint venture partnership. So you're providing a service for her marketing and her basically authority, saying, hey, Jonathan and the team are the real deal. They're going to take care of your house. If something goes wrong, they're behind it. And this is what you get. So that is smart, because sometimes we can't get into those private Facebook groups, the private Instagram books, or the different, I forget the name of the different like groups, like Nextdoor and things like that. It's tough. Like you can be part of the community, but you can't really spam them. But if somebody else is actually your advocate and they're not associated with you, that's where it gets worth its weight in gold, because that's as good as a customer referral. Well, technically it is a customer at this point, referral. And we found that we closed those almost twice as high as anything else that came through. So really, really cool idea. I honestly didn't think of that. And I think, in my
It's
opinion, you're on the right track with Instagram. Jonathan, I don't know if you've ever seen the SimpleGrowth estimator bots, but basically what we do is we create an automated bot that is through Messenger, and it actually can reside on Facebook. It can reside on your website. It can go through QR codes. And now one of our next releases here within the next week or two, without releasing, like kind of letting the cat out of the bag, it's going to be live on Instagram. But we've seen that shift. So kind of talking about the cutting edge, we actually didn't even talk about this. I wasn't sure if I was even going to tell you about it. But yeah, the SimpleGrowth Estimator bot will actually be live on Instagram's platform very shortly. But the idea is it's an automated personal conversation based on going in and like, hey, I want a weekly clean. They type in their address. We get all their information. It syncs into their CRM, such as Service Autopilot or Jobber or ZenMaid, automatically, so that lead's created. And then it calls out to Zillow and gets the livable square footage. So that's literally the area that we're going to be cleaning for those top to bottom deluxe weekly or bi-weekly cleans. We do the same thing in the home cleaning industry based on lot square footage. But the idea is the bot then actually automatically calculates the one-time and the recurring prices based on the company's pricing. And they can actually accept the estimate and pay online natively inside the bot through PayPal or Stripe, or in your CRM if you run a different credit card processing through like a Service Autopilot or Jobber. So that's the next shift. Crazy as it sounds, we were doing this in my service business 5 or 6 years ago through bots. But this is what Debbie and I talked about last year at Martha Woodward's Quality Driven Software, how to actually go out and take advantage of that next shift in buying habits. And it's already happened, and I think it's already exponentially happened because of COVID. Contactless, on-demand buying. But if you want to go to be the Netflix, the Uber, the Amazon of the service industry, such as cleaning, people are demanding on-demand pricing. And if you're not going to give it to them and be available, just like Jonathan and his team is, they're going to go to your competitors. So I think, Jonathan, that's a really well played out move on Instagram, because that is a shift where people are actually purchasing services now.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine that people will swipe their card and pay $400 for a deep clean, but they will, right? And I think the other reality, the other way of looking at that too, is there's some people that won't swipe their card, but once they get the pricing and they'll go through that process and use that technology, you just want a client. And maybe they'll call you the next day and book that cleaning because they're old fashioned in that sense, but because they we're able to utilize that technology, see some pricing, and it's very open and transparent, then, I mean, you're going to win clients whether they actually swipe their card through that feature or not. It's definitely a valuable feature. I feel like Mike Callahan called me on just to sell me that bot system right now, because I didn't see that coming and I want it immediately.
You're gonna have to talk to Dylan on the sales team. I don't handle that. But the cool thing is, especially with cleaning, is when it goes through an API, basically it talks to Zillow, it pulls in number of bedrooms, number of bathrooms, and the square footage. So they don't tell you the numbers of bedrooms and bathrooms, but it bots like, hey, based on the square footage and these factors, this is your price. So they're like, whoa, this is actually, they know about my house. But the cool thing is, and Debbie talked about this when we did our live event for a full day. It was great to share the stage with Debbie. I think at that point she maybe had never shared the stage, so the pressure was on.
Yeah.
And if you've ever seen Debbie talk, you know that is she's the queen of the stage. But the interesting thing is, like Debbie talked about it as well, is that we don't necessarily have to close them on the phone, but they made that emotional commitment. And then just like she talked about it, and as well as like in my office, like there's nothing stopping a live person jumping into that chat and that platform and actually say, hey, this is a live person. Do you have any questions regarding this? So what the bot does is it qualifies the hottest, most qualified leads for your salespeople to close them on the phone or over the bot immediately. And if it's in the middle of the night, cool, let them commit and we can follow up and close that sale later through that automated process that you're talking about or through the bot. So just a lot of stuff, man. Really impressed what you've been doing in the CBF community. Obviously, I've been watching from the outside the last year or two. So Jonathan, really impressed with what you got going on. But I know your time's valuable. We've got a compressed schedule. I got to hop on another call. But before I do that, there's two things that I definitely want to give you a chance to talk about. One of them near and dear to my heart is cleaning for a reason. You can talk about that and what that process is. And ISSA or RC is kind of taking that. And I know Debbie is still on the board of that, but Debbie is the founder of Cleaning for a Reason. A lot of our clients, lawn care, and home cleaning are doing different versions of that. The lawn care version has a very similar process, but cleaning for reasons particular to home cleaning. And then if people are interested in getting group coaching from you as a CBF coach. So I guess, A, cleaning for a reason, what is it? How can you help out there? They're in need. And B, how can they reach out to you as a certified coach for CBF?
Okay. Yeah. So Cleaning for a Reason, Debbie Sardone founded that, I believe, in 2006, not 100% sure, but I think that's when it was. And it all started from a phone call that she received at her office from a cancer patient. She quoted them, they just couldn't couldn't do it financially, and she hung up the phone. And Debbie was sitting there thinking, like, what am I doing? And so from that phone call, now there's this humongous charitable organization. It's 501c3, where Debbie is signing up partners, which are for the most part cleaning companies or other people in the service industry, to go out and clean for cancer patients. So as a partner, my cleaning company will sign up to be a partner. I'll get the contact information for a cancer patient that has signed up with Cleaning for a Reason, and then we'll go clean for them for free. Like, we don't charge them a dime.
And it's nationwide. So I've actually submitted someone locally a couple of years ago that actually someone in upstate New York, the cleaning company was in with Cleaning for a Reason. They went in and cleaned her home free of charge and donated the time. But it was a huge thing for this family. So like I said, I've known about it, but to actually see it firsthand is pretty impressive.
It's real. It's real. It's the last thing that these families need to think about are cleaning their home, right? And there's so many of them that struggle, especially the last year, where it was a lot more difficult to get into the homes of cancer patients and clean with the coronavirus. It's been a rough year, but for the organization. And I'll be honest with you, we've had 150 cleaning companies commit to raising $1,000 for this organization, because we have been faced with a deficit, and that deficit comes from the last year's been difficult for every business in the world. And so we've had some big name players pull out the money that they would donate. I do believe that they'll come back, but with what's happened, there's a deficit, right? And so we have committed to raise money and to erase that deficit so that the Cleaning for a Reason organization can continue what we're doing. There's been thousands and thousands and thousands of homes that have been cleaned. On the Cleaning for a Reason website, you can see the actual the amount of money of cleanings that have been donated. It equates to well over $14-15 million worth of cleanings that have been donated to cancer patients, and we're still continuing to do them. A lot of companies, a lot of these partners are signing up to service 5 to 10 to 15 different cancer patients each month in their company. So it's a great organization. We are hosting a fundraiser right now to help raise some money to help erase that deficit. I'm going to post a link, Mike, if it's okay, in the comments
Absolutely.
for
And then as
anybody
well in the
that's.
comments too. So definitely check out Cleaning for a Reason. If that's something you're standing behind, definitely go in, make that donation. If you're a cleaning company, donate your services. Huge, huge. So Jonathan, absolutely in the live recorded version, put that link in, as well as, if you wouldn't mind, put the link how people can get a hold of you
Yeah.
for your CBF coaching services. And just verbally, I guess, how would we connect with you if we're interested in any of the CBF coaching through you as a certified coach?
Yeah, hey, all of us coaches that are part of the CBF program, Debbie handpicked us. She wanted her coaches to be people that actually have a very successful cleaning company. She wanted us to be the people that are teaching everybody that comes into the program now. So I can provide that link. You're welcome to message me on Facebook. I can get that in front of you. Now is the time. Time is of the essence right now. We have multiple coaches that are starting group coaching programs. These programs last a year. That means that you're in the Cleaning Business Fundamentals group. You get calls with Debbie as well as a part of anchor calls. And so those group coaching those groups are going to start in May. So people, you are running out of time. If you're in the cleaning industry, if you want to start a cleaning business, now's the time to jump into these groups before we start the group coaching this May. But I'll provide the link for that. You can send me a message. I would love to work with anybody that has a cleaning company and wants to blow it out of the water. I can turn your life into the wild, wild west too.
Well, I love it. I can't thank you enough. Definitely, CBF certified coaches yourself got my seal of approval. Love working with the CBF community as well as Debbie. So I can't wait to catch with you offline. We're going to talk some automations and some stuff that we're doing. But hopefully we'll be back with the platform that usually broadcasts on Facebook so we can have a little better interaction with the crowd. If you're catching this on a recorded version where we normally are live on your platform streaming, feel free to drop some questions. Jonathan and I will keep an eye on the questions or comments. SA Weekly Talk Show coming at you every Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Central. Mike Callahan with special guest Jonathan. Jonathan, thanks again, buddy. And we'll definitely need to hook up next week. All right. Have a good one.